Welcome back to the Enlightened Misfits podcast. I am your host, Lauren, and in today's episode, I have Amanda. She is a relationship coach. Welcome, Amanda. So happy to have you here with us this morning.
Good morning, Lauren. Thank you for having me in here today. It's a pleasure to share this time with you and your audience.
Of course. So, I know we were chatting a little bit before we started recording, but tell us a little bit about who you are and kind of a little bit about your journey and how it's gotten you to where you are today.
Absolutely. I was born in Brazil and I've been living in the United States over 13 years now. So I'm so blessed to call myself a citizen, US citizen, which bring me so much grace in my heart from my own journey. And how did I start with all of this? How did I have my awakening? How did I step into the entrepreneur world, right? From my childhood, I had a traumatic childhood which I suffered abandonment and reject by my father before I was even born. Physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. And those experiences make myself to disconnect from myself and from the world. I was unable to connect. I was unable to trust and deeply afraid about intimacy in all of my relationships. And as a result, I became emotional dysfunctional in all of my interpersonal relationships. And at one point of my life, I start to asking why I am feeling this way. And that came, of course, from a traumatic event in my adulthood, which I was in a relationship with this guy, and then he cheated on me. And he had the same career that my daddy back in that time. He was a truck driver, which was the career of my daddy. So this way that it is the reason that he abandoned and rejected my mom because he was married with another woman. So then this boyfriend, this partner came into my life with the same career. And then I say, what is this about it, universe? And he cheated on me, and then I break down, and then that's when I went to the role. And I start suffering and just asking question, what love is about it, what's wrong with me? And those inner voices in my head saying you're not lovable, something wrong with you don't deserve love, you're not worthy, and something you are dirty, all of those inner voices. And I was going crazy because I went to psychologists to help me out with that. But after a while, I still were listening all of those voices, right? And that's when I finally found hypnosis because I wanted to first just shut down those voices in my head. But when I found hypnosis, that was not about shutting down the inner voices. It was about to understand why they were of that. And those inner voices was a mechanism of defense whenever you are a child, that they come and help you to being functional in that time. And in that time, yes, they helped me, but as an adult, they were not helping me anymore. And because I was not suppressing those inner voices anymore due to this event, which made me to make a choice to heal myself and to understand why I was not having the love that I wanted in life. And yes, hypnosis shift everything because that give you the opportunity to identify the mental patterns that you are experiencing once you get triggered. And you identifying those mental patterns, you are able to get back to the memory and shift the self perception about yourself, because we are projecting over and over again from our past into to our present and into to our future. And the subconscious mind doesn't know what is reality and what is fiction. And what does that mean if I am feeling anxious, right? It's just because my mind, it's in the future. That's why I was not able to understand why I was feeling all of those patterns, because I was feeling anxious about it. But anxiety, it's a symptom. It's not what it is as an emotional pattern. And whenever I was feeling stressed, it's just because my mind was in the past, totally in the past, like repeating the things unconsciously, right? Because whenever become conscious, that's when you started to doing the work. And whenever I understood that intellectually and I choose to make that work, everything has changed. And I was able to shift those belief systems that was created by the traumas, that were created by the religion also, and all of that. And still doing, because it's just like an onion. You're peeling the onion, and always going to be something for us to work on it. However, as we shift the self-perception that we have about ourselves, it's a freedom out there, and everything changed. And I'm able to not project my past anymore to my present moment. I'm able just to allow it for whatever the universe has to me to come through me and to embody with my inner being, and just to serve, and just to be in that energy, in that new way of being. So basically, that's how it is my journey. And after doing hypnosis, I just decided, okay, I want to serve the world as a hypnotherapist, because this is shift my entire life. And if I was my own prisoner, if I was in my own mind thinking about it, everybody else it is, everybody. And I just decided to use the gift that God gave it to me. And because everything it's about relationship, I just niche that out to support people to overcome any emotional blocks that they are having with interpersonal relationship or professional relationship, because everything started within us. And if I'm able to talk with myself, if I'm able to set boundaries, if I'm able to love myself and accept myself as I am, and to forgive myself, first thing is forgive yourself, to be part of that experience. And once you forgive yourself and you are able to let it go and accept who you are, not your ego, but who you are as an essence, as a divine source, because we came from that source, everything take a place. Everything start to flow, and you just need to allow that flow.
Yeah. I love all of everything that you said. And I was when you were talking, I know I have very similar experiences like you, and also I know people that are listening are like, "Yep, that's me," or they have some answers of like a couple clients that I've had this past week have said one specific one had said that the pattern that she noticed, she notices patterns, is that her past partners have always cheated on her. So when you, again, what I had said to her, like, okay, tell me a little bit more. Like, tell me more of like your past, like your childhood. Because it always comes from, I mean, it doesn't always have to come from childhood, but it could just be like a ancestral thing, right? Like, or a
Yeah.
generational thing too. But if you start to actually notice the patterns of your parents, their parents, and then your childhood, it's all very similar. Like it's just it like repeats, but in a different, or it's like your own life and it repeats, but in a different way, until,
Yeah.
like you said, you become aware of that experiences. And then you realize, oh, this is just maybe what my parents had told me, or that's not really what I want to believe. But then when you say about the subconscious mind, I think the subconscious mind is not talked about enough because it's literally what 90% of our behavior and how we
Yeah.
operate. So if you don't change anything about your life, but you change your subconscious mind, that's literally how you change your reality now, Like, can you kind of explain a little bit more to the listeners of like how you work with the subconscious mind with your own healing and how you work with your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like you mentioned, 90% of our behaviors and the way that we operated in life comes from the subconscious mind. It's just like imagine like an iceberg in the ocean, right? The top of it, it is your conscious mind. 10% of your entire ice, it's 10% the way that you communicate with others, the way that you analyze things, the way that you have your judgmental part of yourself, and the entire rest, it is under the knee, which is your emotional patterns, your intuition, habits, addictions, values. And if you don't get in touch with that part, you are dysfunctional, unconscious dysfunctional, because you don't know what's going on with you, and then you blame others. Oh, this is happening with me because of the humanity. This is happening for me because this person. This is happening for me because the government. This is happening. You start to putting the reason for outside of you, and then you are not honoring, you are not self-accountable with your own experience, right? And how to shift that, how to reprogram that. That is the your path is going to take you there, right? For everybody's going to be in a different way. In my case was about love, relationships. Other people is going to be about finances. Other people is going to be about healthy. The three primary ones, because if you go ahead and see like the Maslow hierarchic needs, it's going to be three levels,
Right.
which is finances, relationship, and healthy. And like I say, in my case was more about a relationship. So I start to ask myself, what does love means? Who am I? Why am I attracting these the same image of my daddy into my life? And then I thought that was for me. I'm not gonna marriage with somebody that is married. I am, I thought it was my mom story repeating. Then I said no, but I start questioning myself. What love is about it? What this has happened to me,
Right.
for me, not to me,
Right.
because that is a little difference, right? So how can I shift? Because I would love to experience a lovely relationship. I would love to experience a relationship which I am seen, heard, and I am just accepted about who am I completely, being authentically. I start question. And once I question those dots, right? And then the universe start to guiding me in a way for me to get in a path, but also was me being humble and ask for help, not being ashamed of asking for help, being vulnerable with myself.
Right.
And I went to the training with hypnosis. That's when I got certified. And the unfolding of my path was very subtle, very natural. And sometimes whenever I try to fast pace, the universe comes and just that is not how it is.
Yes. I think all of us probably can definitely resonate with that.
Yeah, totally. Especially because you open for a new way of being. You are just like, wow, that is all of this information. Let me dive in deeper. And I was just reading and staying home. And that's why I say 2020 was the best year of my life because I was in touch with myself and reprogramming all of that. And how could I measure that I was being okay in a new way of being? From the way that I respond to the events, from the way that I respond to people, because I cannot have control of others. I cannot have control of life, but I can control myself, the way that I respond to the event, the way that I respond to that trigger. with relationships, finances, everything, because you're going to see it. Everything's going to come along together. Finances, relationship, health, because it's a holistic way of being. And of course, when you open it up for that, because also whenever we put things in a box, right, we
Yeah.
miss the opportunity over here. And okay, if I'm okay, divine, I'm open. I open my heart to experience whatever it's out there. But also takes courage for that, right? And we need to interface with the fear, because fear and courage, they walk together.
Right.
And whenever, but the fear, it's your emotional pattern tell you what is not going to happen, because it's based on the past. Remember, it's a projection. So the way that I do with my clients, it is a little different, because from my own experience, and I was able to get the feedback with my own experience, pushing myself, getting feedback from the universe, because I was present in that moment. And I have I'm a very blessed with my guidance, my spiritual guidance, mentors, right? But also the physical person also guiding me in that moment. So I was able to feedback and analyzing and meditating on it, and to find where could I change, where could I let it go. And because of that experience on my own path, I'm able nowadays to meet my clients where they are at and to follow their pace, because my pace is different than yours. It is different than everybody else.
Right.
And what I always invite my clients is just to, think about it, how you would like to experience this new way of being. And
Right.
whenever they sit with their thoughts, right, they are able to find their own pace and say, okay, this is too overwhelmed for me. Because thinking about it, Lauren, we did not learn how to deal with our emotions.
Right.
We were always suppressing, always repressing, always denying. You're not able to talk about your emotions. Go to your room, put yourself together, and come back to the room. How crazy is that, right?
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
But it is crazy, but that's how the experience it is about it. But in another hand, in my primary culture, right, we don't have that. So for me, it was a very it's been a very great experience to integrate both cultures. That's why I'm multicultural. I'm able to find the balance for them whenever they whenever they have that much, or whenever they don't have, they lack, and to come together in a balance. And just in my case, let's say whenever I'm in home, we are very emotional. We touch everybody, we kiss, we have very compassion. We don't have problems show emotions. If we're crying, we cry and then we scream. We don't have that problem. We really embrace the emotion, show, share. We fight. But 5 minutes later, we love each other, because that's the meaning for us, is to be with family. It's that connection, that compassion. I'm gonna be there for you. No matter what happened, I'm there for you. I don't need to knock your door to visit you. I just
Right.
can just show up and just be there with you, just to laugh and all of that. And then here I came to United States, completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Completely different. I don't show my emotions. It's like, how? No, I'm gonna laugh, I'm gonna scream, I'm gonna everything, right? But that gave me the opportunity to balancing those polarities, right? And that is being phenomenal. It's just being, I mean, so gifted to have that ability nowadays to myself, and then to share that and meet my clients and say, okay, you need a little bit more about sadness, and to express how you're going to express your sadness. And that's why I say I meet them where they are. And just like you, it's very intuitive. And I always make sure to teach them, guide them how to develop critical thinking.
Right.
Because that is going to take them where they need to be whenever I am not close to them or not in a session. Because my goal is to empowering my friends, my clients, everybody that come across with me, either with information like we are doing as right now, energetic, to be with that person, to hug. And sometimes we don't need to say anything. We just need to hug. And all of that energy is going to be transmuted, it's going to get in a way for that person to receive what her need or his need. Same with me. So it's just that flow. And that's the beauty of it.
Yes.
Hey there, I just wanted to take a quick moment to share with all of you spiritual rebels and fempreneurs. If you've been craving a space where you can build wealth, heal trauma, and rise alongside like-minded women, I got something for you to hear about. I'm excited to invite you into the Enlightened Misfits Sisterhood. This is a low-cost, high-impact group membership designed exclusively for spiritual fempreneurs who know they need accountability and support to create sustainable wealth, but aren't ready to dive into a one-on-one mentorship. In this membership, you'll get monthly calls, rituals, healing sessions, and workshops to break through your self-doubt and build confidence so that you can consistently sell your offers and make money. This is also a collaborative private Facebook community where you make lifelong connections with other women who are just as serious as hitting their goals. And my personal guidance as your intuitive human design business guide and trauma healer, ensuring you stay aligned and on track with your business goals. Plus, you'll get free access to all my paid workshops and masterclasses, along with exclusive VIP pricing for my one-on-one Voxer membership. This membership is all about helping you heal the sabotaging behaviors blocking your abundance and using your human design to create a business that feels amazing to run. Imagine waking up excited to serve your clients and knowing that you have the exact support you need to hit every single one of your business goals every single month. So if you're ready to rise and build wealth with a sisterhood of spiritual misfits, make sure you click the registration link in the description box. Right now, the investment is just $88 a month, but the price will increase to $197 a month. Join today to unlock exclusive rates and get access to next month's kickoff call. Let's get back to today's episode, but remember, your next level is just one decision away. Join the sisterhood and let's rise together.
Yes. Yes, definitely. When you say there is a couple, I think we said this earlier, because collectively, like right now, while we're recording this, I do know that for myself, there's other people that I know, people that I'm, collaborating with, that collectively, the collective consciousness right now has been healing the father wound. And when you talked about this, when you said that, I was like, oh, I have to ask her about this, because I feel like regardless of the situation of who your father was, physical, if it was, abuse, if it was his trauma, if it was his this, it was that. And I've actually really dove into thinking that I thought I had like a mother wound and father wound kind of like, but it was more prevalent to have like a mother wound kind of thing, like what I needed to learn this lifetime for myself, right?
Yeah.
I realized going through this last couple months, I'm like, oh my goodness, I did. Like, the question that my parents would always ask me was, why do you keep attracting people that abuse you, that, I'm an empath, very narcissistic people. Let's just say that, I'm not going to call them narcissists, but just narcissistic people. And the deeper rooted problem is they just have a lot of trauma that they haven't heard, they don't know how to heal. Nobody showed them how to heal it. Whatever, there's always a lesson for that, whatever happens. And I started going through literally like surveying my whole life, all my relationships. And I always say that relationships was a drug to me, because that's kind of where I'm like, I could help them. I can change them. I could do it. And it's like, no, Lauren, you can't control them. You cannot change them. You only can control yourself. So basically, when you talk about the whole reflection, the mirror, all that stuff, right? it's hard. It was hard for me in the beginning to hear that, because I then started taking, okay, so I deserve to be abused. No, it was not your trauma. You don't deserve that trauma. You don't deserve that abuse, but you do need to be responsible for your healing. And I published that actually in a book that I wrote in 2021, because I realized that it was just like I was meditating, and it was like I might have still had some victim mentality still left, moving
Mhm.
through all of that, right? And I feel like sometimes it still pops up, and I'm like, no, that's an old belief, all that stuff. Because I'm now, 5 years in, I've learned a lot through it.
Yeah.
So I would always blame, when you said you blame everybody else, it's like you have to go through that process, because you do blame everybody. And then then you're put by yourself, and then you're like, now who am I going to blame? You can't blame anybody but yourself. So I remember being on a podcast years ago, and I would tell my story, and I realized in that moment of one of those podcasts, I forget what podcast I was on, I realized, oh my God, I think that I finally realized that I'm the problem. Like, I've always been the problem. And then I realized, let me actually switch that into, how can I look at it from a different perspective?
Yeah.
And what was that teaching me? And then I was like, I look at things now, even when my own stuff comes up, or if I'm in my own shadow, I always ask myself, what is this trying to teach me? And usually it's like an old thing. It's like, oh, I'm thinking about the past. I'm using an experience from the past and trying to put it in my reality now. And it's not working, because that's not who I am, anymore, all that. That's a past version of myself. And then, you talk about triggers, and it's like, but that's triggering me. So I feel like that's where I need to look at. And it's more of like, no, it's triggering you because it's a reminder of who you used to be, and not go back there, kind of thing. That's just how it is for me and my story. But I feel like me saying that and you saying that is like, can give people some confirmation that you have to be kind to yourself, and it's a process. I've talked to so many people. I have to say, it's probably going to be a little bit, deeper the rest of the year after Pluto goes in retrograde. But I feel like lately, the last couple months, and even with myself, that I realized that this is all coming up, so we can completely shift it. Like, it be completely in the past, and that's where it stays there. And you don't have to, it's like a library cabinet. You just, like, you need to access it, but then you keep it there and stop bringing it into your reality. I feel like that's, anyway, what I got from what you were saying and what I've done for myself too. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful for us to acknowledge who we are now and who we were, right? However, the mind, it's always seeking for more.
Right.
It's never enough, but it's also a belief. But whenever, and then you mentioned, I'm gonna touch on that about being patient with yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because the mind is seeking for more, and it's never enough. How can I be at peace and enjoy myself, and just be? Because like you mentioned, we were on the masculine energy. Most of our life is just doing achievements. And for me to be happy, I need to have this car. For me to be happy, I need to have this degree. For me to be happy, I need to have this house. For me to be happy, I need to have this body. And especially nowadays with technology, social medias, people put a perfect model over there, and I'm going to use this word very conscious and intentional, what you should be, or you should be like this. You should be like this. That is no should
Yeah.
about how I could experience my life, how I couldn't experience my energy, how I could experience my emotion. But everything comes to the point of self-awareness and
Right.
how much I am willing to take responsibilities as well. Because it's not easy. It's
Right.
uncomfortable in the mind, in order to feel, to stay in the comfort zone, in order to feel safe, it's going to come back to what it is, to what it is familiar with. Oh, this has been my entire environment for my entire life. I've been attracting narcissistic for my life. I've been attracting people that it's cheat on me because that was comfortable for that child before. But that child did not have awareness. That child was being programmed, right? From all of the sense. Either was visually, so he or her was seeing the parents doing like that visually. Oh, this is what it is.
Right.
Not knowing. They were listen, auditory. Oh, so you are fat. Oh, you don't deserve to do this. Oh, you blah blah blah, and all of the auditory. Go to your room doing this. You're not worthy. And then the brain, the child just like absorb, just like a SpongeBob, right? Shh.
Yeah.
And he's the synesthetic channel. I'm feeling all of those emotions, but I'm feeling from my parents, which we until at the age 5 years old, we are connected with the mom energy, right? And then we're absorbing all of the mom energy. So whatever the mom energy feeling, I am getting in my body and I'm storaging on it. And then 5 years old, I start to acknowledge that, okay, this is me, but that is the word over there. So I start to compare. I start to feel bullying. I start to just like having those energy, emotions, feelings, but in a interaction with the external world. And then also the daddy energy comes into place as well. So that's how we merge all of those belief systems. And the taste, whatever I am just having this taste of the tea. If I don't like it, anything that is going to, in the future, it's going to trigger me to that taste because it's going to be connected with that experience that I had. And the olfactory as well. So we've been programmed since our childhood, but not knowing. But that's the reason that we are here in this earth, to learn.
Right.
To learn, and we only learn whenever we are able to acknowledge what was it from what it is now, and to become the observer of our experience and to make a space for the new that has to come. And all of that comes from the point of self-awareness. Be patient with yourself. People talk about like, oh, self-care. I am going to the massage. I'm going to get my hair and nails. It's more than that, self-care.
Maintenance.
More than that, you know. It's nice to have a nice hair. I go to massage. Of course it is. Don't take me wrong. We all love that.
Yeah.
But how about to sit with your uncomfortable feelings and not trying to suppress?
Right.
And just to stay for a moment. They're not going to last forever.
Right.
Talk with them, play with them. Just be there, you know, meditate it. Just allow that. And people tell me, Amanda, I cannot meditate. I cannot. Yes, we can. But that is a different way of meditation. You need to find your way because everybody is different. I was not able to meditate and like close my eyes and, oh, meditator, come to me. Not at all. You know,
Yeah.
especially with neurodivergency that broadcasts all, you can catch all of the thoughts all the time. No, it's just a process. It's a training. And be patient. We have the entire life to do this, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just the decision, the intentionality, and then the why. Find your why. Find your why. Surrender yourself with people that are seeking the same or even better parts of what you desire in life. So make sure that you put yourself in a safe space that it's bringing you that sensation of you can be yourself, you can interact and all of that. But first start with yourself. Accept where you are at as right now. forgive yourself. I talk with myself all the time in the mirror. And whenever I have this old pattern, okay, hold on a second. Okay, what do you wanted to show? Just like you mentioned, right? And that's the easy way, but effective way of doing, and one day at a time, one step at a time. And journal, that's another way that people find very effective. Journal, and you start to, okay, I always share these active with my clients, right? Just for a week. But I started like 3 days and then 5 and 7. So I'm following the pace. Just for 3 days, say no to people. That's how you're going to start to set boundaries. It's going to be uncomfortable, very much, but say no. But the way that you're going to say no, you're going to validate their need first. Listen to them. I hear you. I see that you need this. However, as right now, I am not able to do it. Can we do it in another time? Because this way you're validating that person, that needs, but also you standing up for yourself. You created a healthy boundaries, and then you make that connection even more stronger because you've been authentic to yourself and your needs. And then we shift like the pleasing patterns as well. All of those patterns, they have a spectrum and they all connected in the dots. So so I invite my clients to do those exercise. So this way they can measure, because also the human brain look to measure things, right? So how I've been productive, if I don't see anything manifest physically, the mind is saying, no, you're not productive. You're not expanding. But let me tell you, the consciousness, the spirituality, your new way of being, it's going to come from the abstract. It's not going to manifest first in the matter. It's going to manifest first over here for you to embody that. But for you to embody that, you need to create a space which comes from the practice, changing habits, being more consistent, being more commitment with yourself, which they are behaviors, and it causing emotions from that behavior. So it's all of that spiral that goes on and on.
Yeah. And I have to say, that what you just said about the behavior causes the emotion, and then it's like the spiral. I want to talk a little bit about that, because, and also kind of want to, which I know that kind of ties into like how the world confuses intimacy as well. But can you kind of speak on the like behavior, like human behavior, like just, somebody acts a certain way, and then that's the action, right? And then it's then causes you to kind of feel an emotion. Like how do you kind of like walk either yourself through it, or like your clients through understanding that it has nothing, it has nothing to do with that person. It has everything to do with the person that's doing that shitty behavior, I should say.
Yes. Everything come in our experience as a mirror for us to learn, right? And the mirror, it's going to be either physically, either emotionally, which is going to trigger the behaviors, or either spiritual, because that's the Trinity connection, right? So basically, what I always experience to myself, but not always, because this has been shifting as I've been expanding and work with clients. So thoughts generated emotion in motion in the body, right? So at the beginning, we have the thought. But what did create the thought? Was the experience in the past, right? And if I am projecting that, I am projecting that unconsciously. However, whenever something happened in my physicality, because thoughts generated emotion in my body. If I'm feeling stressed, I am going to start to get the awareness on the stress, right? And I'm going to start to looking for anything to feel relieved from that stress. And then once I am relieved from that stress, I am going to take a look on my emotions. Because if my body feeling more free, more relaxed, I am going to start to notice that my emotions is changing. And then that's when I'm going to start acknowledge thoughts. I'm going to acknowledge, oh, I'm having these different thoughts. So either the person is going to acknowledge from the stress in the body, either is going to acknowledge the feedback interacting with the other person, or either for the thoughts. Let's say from the interaction with other, whenever you say like, how can I just be aware this is about me, not about them, right? So it's kind of, it is challenge in a way if the person doesn't have awareness, if the person is on an automatic pilot, right?
Yeah.
If it is on automatic pilot, that person's not going to have that awareness. But if I have a little bit of awareness, right? Once and again, critical thinking. Why I'm feeling this way in this situation? Instead, I always tell my clients, don't ask people how they are doing. Ask them how they are feeling.
Right.
Because it's why, but why, Amanda, you just doing this? Because how you doing, it's a automatic, it's a automatic pilot. It's automatic. People are not really engaged with that. It's just, it's the program. Oh, how are you doing? They're gonna lie to you. They're not gonna, they're gonna say, I'm doing fine.
Yeah. And fine is a trigger word for me that I'm like, oh, they're not okay. Like fine is not an emotion. Like it's not even, I actually, now that you say this, I'm thinking, I actually always say, how are you feeling? Like I used to say, how are you doing? Or I'll say, I hope you're feeling well, or I hope you're doing well, like something like that. And then that is when people are like, but I'm actually, to be honest, not. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about, like we're like, whatever, like however that is, like if it's like a conversation between like me and our friend or me or a client, or just me having to hold space for somebody, for them to just vent to me about whatever's going on in their life. So now that you say that, that's probably why people do that, because I don't ask people how they're doing. Not anymore. Yeah.
We are in an automatic pilot.
Yeah.
Doing things automatic. But the goal of consciousness, of self-awareness, it should be out of that box, to be out of that, automatic things. And for that, we need to take actions. And that's why I always ask people how they are feeling. But let me tell you something. Be ready to listen to them as well.
Right.
To engage with whatever comes in.
Right.
And that is going to give people another dynamic of creating intimacy with the other human being. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I like how the way that how you kind of tied that in together, because I feel like the world confuses intimacy with performance or validation. It's just from my experience, how I have experienced it. And I always said to myself, like, how can it return more about like genuine, like soul to soul connection versus like ego into ego connection. I mean, I guess that's probably the best way to say it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's beautiful the way that you say it, because that's how you experience, right? And for me, because of my traumas in the past, and I was not able to connect, and I am a person that I seek for that connection. I'm Cancer, I am Scorpio,
I was going to ask you, what is your top 3?
That's very interesting. So my sun is Cancer, my moon rises is Scorpio, and now my ascendant, right? And my moon, it's Aquarius.
Oh, I'm an Aquarius sun, Pisces moon, and rising. So I understand the emotional part.
Yeah, so yeah, you
Like when people, that's why when I say like, I can see the pain, the hurt, the trauma in people. And when I ask people, if I'm asking you like, how are you feeling? Like, what's going on? You can talk. It's because I know, it's just I have a deep knowing that they need somebody, even if it's not even to work with me, or they just need somebody to listen to them. Because that could be the one time that whatever thought is going on, that could change a perspective, that could do a shift, I've just had so many experiences, and people come to me and say, because you asked me this one time, or I reach out to people, if I think about them more than 3 times or 4 times, I will reach out to them, because there's a reason why I need to reach out to them. I don't know the reason, but I just need to reach out to them. And usually they'll come back to me and be like, thank you so much for your advice or your guidance or whatever. And it's like, at that moment, that's what success feels like to me. Cause it's like, oh, I helped them get by whatever they need to get by. I helped, bring whatever I needed to bring. Cause it's like, I didn't go through what I went through for no reason.
yeah.
Cause God only knows, if there was no reason, what the hell did I have to go through all that for? You know, but it's because now I'm seeing, over the last couple of years, I'm seeing it's because my experiences are helping other people go through what they need to go through now. So I had to go first. You know what I mean? So like it's
Totally.
starting full circle. There's so many full circle moments, even in 2025, that I'm like, oh my God, I now understand in 2019 and 2020 and 2018 and 2021 that I had to go through all of that chaos, absolute, completely chaos, to now that I'm like, it feels lighter, and it's like everything is brighter, it's kind of like, not always, but at the same time, it's like that different shift of perspective. Like, if you look at a 6 or a 9, it's like one person's looking at 6, one person's looking at 9. I always love to refer back to that, because if they don't see it the way I see it, that's okay. Doesn't mean that you're wrong and I'm right. It just means we have different perspectives. And I say this to my husband all the time. We can agree to disagree, because you have a different perspective than I do, and that's okay. And he just looks at me and he's like, but I'm still right. And I'm like, you're not, but I'm in my head, I'm like, you're not, but okay. Like, it just, it stops so much conflict, to be honest. And it's just, that's where I feel like a lot of people are right now. It's like so much conflict and chaos right now. So, people listening to this, I know for a fact they're going to get like listening, like light bulbs, like, oh my God, oh my God, this makes so much sense. Because it really does. Like, once you look at it from a different lens of their lens, or if they're looking at it from like a trauma lens, right? Like, if they haven't healed through their traumas, it's distorted. It's a very distorted mirror for them, so you just have to accept that they just don't need to learn it right now. I had to learn that lesson too, because I'm like, well, you should, that word triggers me too. It's like, you should do this. And it's just like, no, you should just shut the fuck up. That's what I used to tell people. I, I shouldn't do anything. I should just do what I need to do. And that's what I'm doing. So,
Yeah.
that word, it probably triggers me from my mom, but
Oh,
like,
the should, yeah. It's
that's
the
definitely coming
parent.
from my mom, which I love her to death. And she's an amazing mom, and she's gave me amazing, life lessons and stuff. But at the same time, she's also gave me trauma. So it's like, same thing with, like, she didn't realize it at the time, but I needed that trauma lesson experience to be able to clear out generational stuff for my daughter. So I'm not passing it on to my own daughter. I mean, my daughter's 5 now, and my biggest worry is I don't want to transfer any generational trauma to her. And that awareness in itself is, a mom worrying if she's going to be a terrible mom is not a terrible mom. She's too worried about being a terrible mom, you know?
Exactly. It's being attached to that concept of it,
Right.
and that's beautiful. Thank you for doing that for her, because this is the beauty of like the path, for us to really learn from our own traumas, right? And that's exactly what I tell people whenever I have my discovering calls, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, I say, If you decided to not work with me, totally fine. You're going to find the person that's going to be fit to work with you. But make sure to get to know her or his path. Because for instance, I have time to time, I have people with sexual abuse, I have people with abandonment, I have people with emotional abuse, and I have people with a physical abuse. And why? Because I experienced those things in my past.
Right.
I am capable to guide people to overcome those emotional blocks because I choose to work those patterns in my own healing process.
Right.
And because I choose to work that, I am now in a place that I can hold a safe space for others because I did that for myself and I'm still doing that for myself because I am the person to hold a safe space for me and not expecting that the masculine energy is going to hold a safe space for me because that is also I mean, I love this entire path because I learned so much and then I apply for my own journey and then I can share just as right now with you, right? So we project the safety and the security and the provide on the masculine energy. And if I don't have that working out in myself, I am going to seek that lack. That's why I attract dysfunctional partners.
Right.
That's why I attract people that are not emotional available.
Correct.
And so let's just say on my sexual abuse, right? I had it both masculine and the energy to work on it. So my sexual abuse was with my uncle. And what happened in that moment with my child, means you cannot trust them.
Right.
They're gonna hurt you. It's not safe. They're gonna laugh to you. And you cannot be secure. And remember, the masculine energy is the provider. How I was able to receive the provide financially talking, how I'm able to trust that the masculine within me or the projected one that I was doing was bring me what I need to survive, right? So, and also all of those projections on the masculine was connected with God figure because whenever we talk about God, whenever I didn't have the awareness that God, it's one unique force. It's male and female. It's both. It's yin and yang. It's one energy, right? Balanced, grounded. But before I did not know that. God for me, it's the Father. It was associated with all of that. So I was disconnected spiritually as well.
Right.
And not only that, right? So he's the masculine. And then I had that much on myself because I have to become my own daddy, my own father, because my mom, she was not emotional available because she was going through in her own pain as well. Very humble, very humble. I love her to the death because the strength that I have, it's from her. So she was emotional dysfunctional. And whenever you mention, Lauren, I need to save people, right? What my inner child did it, oh, let me save mom. Mom is so, she's not functioning. Let me save her. And our parents, our hero, we wanted to do everything for them. But that created a pattern on myself before of saving others, you know?
Yeah.
And so that was
you're saying my whole story, just a different experience. And I'm like, she knows. Was she there with me? Was she there?
but you know what is the beauty about this being a human and the work that I choose to do, right? So you've been in your body, I've been in my body. But one thing that we experience in the same way are emotions. But the emotions are in a different spectrum, right? So you experience abandonment in a different way in your scenario. you
Right.
experience like, I'm not saying that, I'm just giving an example in general. If you
Yeah.
experience sexual abuse, that was their emotions and belief was the same in
Yeah.
different degrees with
Right.
different people, but the energy
Right.
same. You
Yeah.
just pick a different person, a different scenario, and that's it. That's the beauty of it. That's why I'm able to navigate it with whoever the person is coming in, because I learned how to navigate it that within myself.
Right.
And because I'm very kinesthetic, right? And I can feel it. Okay, in having the intellectuality, right? Neuroscience, metaphysics, and all of that. I'm just applying tools for you to navigate it with that. But yeah, coming back to the point of like my mom, she was dysfunctional in a way, right? Because all of the traumas and everything that she was experiencing. But in the time that I was suffering the sexual abuse in my room, she was with my uncle also drinking and smoking. They were just like having fun, right? Because they were not aware. They were just trying to suppress the uncomfortable feelings, the life things. But because she was there drinking and all of that, I blaming her because my security was upon her. She
Right.
was the one to make me feel safe and secure, and she did not made it, but she was not aware. But my inner child didn't know all of that. So
Right.
I was not trust on the feminine energy as well, because I was hating my mom to the death. And
Yeah.
I was just, you know, no, she did not protect me. And I could not say that because they're not going to believe it. Oh, your uncle, he did it there with you. So, all of the frame that people used to be on it. So all of that scenario, and then I have to heal my feminine energy as well, coming from my mom and within myself. Because if I don't trust my mom, I don't trust in myself. Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
the
No.
feminine energy, it's the DNA, it's connected.
Right.
And here I am balancing out masculine energy with the feminine energy from the sexual abuse. And why before I was attracting partners that was not emotional available, or they were on the feminine energy, because I was more on my masculine energy. So this way I attract the feminine polarity to balancing out. But
Yes.
in then at one point of that experience, we are not exchanging energies anymore. We are not adding to each other lives and values. And that's when you need to let it go. And you need to choose, make better choices based on your own experience. And clients come to show me that as well as I was working with myself. And that's the beauty of it, because we attract people to show it, just like you say, oh, here's my old pattern come in for me to see, but that is a choice for me to do it as right now, because I am not that person anymore. I am a better person. So that's
Right.
how it is, the dynamic. So for those people that attract narcissistic or partner that are not emotional available, that is a reason for that. Why that energy still serves you and vice versa, because we are exchanging teachings, lessons, until the point that we're just like, okay, I got it. So now let me process this, the sadness, the hurt, and move on my own pace.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say that I think I want to preface this too, for people that are listening, if they're thinking about like who they have attracted and they've been with their husbands, partners for a very long time. I always like to say too, because when I first attracted my husband now, oh my goodness, I feel like it was probably a trauma bond in the beginning, but then we actually started to grow separate. Like he was growing, I was growing, but growing together. I shouldn't say separate. That's probably the wrong word. But so like he was on his own healing journey, I was on my own healing journey, and then we could come together. And then like the last couple, like I want to say the last year is when I could be more in my feminine energy, not so much in my masculine energy. Obviously, in my business, have both, right? Like,
Mhm.
and he helps me with things here and there, but it's more of like in the actual relationship, I should say. I'm being able to be more in my feminine, and he's able to be more in his masculine in the relationship. But that always wasn't the case when we got together, because I was still operating very heavily in masculine, and feminine. And, being a single mom at the time, I had to do it all. And then I realized I don't have to do it all now, because, my daughter's father wasn't present in the beginning, and he's as present as he can be now, which, that's his path. That's what he needs to do, all that stuff. But I realized it was like full circle moments. Like I said, my dad wasn't emotionally present for me when I was a child. Either was my mom, but they were both emotionally present for my daughter because I needed them to be. So I also had to heal some of that too, because I would see that and I would get jealous. Or it would be like not jealousy, but it would be more envy. Like I desired that when my inner, not me personally, like my physical, like not my adult body, but my inner child, I would hear things of, why didn't that happen for us, me,
Yes.
my inner child? And that's like, they're all valid things. And I feel like there's a lot of people that have also experienced that same experience and have probably didn't know what they were experiencing. But me being self-aware, I realized that's actually how it's supposed to happen. And I'm just allowing that and not holding resentment and not holding, like hating my parents. Because at one point, my parents were the problem and I hated them because they did this to me. And I realized, oh, no, they didn't. Like, and
Mhm.
that process has to happen. So it's like when people say, I don't want to go through that, you have to, because if you don't, you're going to keep going through that and keep going
Right.
through that until you don't go through that anymore. Like you can't
Mhm.
spiritually bypass things. I've tried it, trust me, and I know you probably have too, but it doesn't work. Like it just doesn't work, and it won't work. I
Yeah.
just felt like I needed to say that, when you were talking, because I was thinking, oh, it doesn't necessarily mean like the partner that you're with now, you can't grow with them. Because here's the thing, if you do grow with them, that's actually something that you guys can like be understand, because you were there. That was a past version of you to now, and you could see your growth within your actual like relationship. It's not
Yeah.
always like that, but it's beautiful when it is like that.
It is beautiful, and that's exactly where intimacy takes place.
Hmm.
Because just like we were talking before, we think actually we think intimacy in a different way.
Right.
Just it's just present for like couples, right? To have like more emotional or physical intimacy. No, intimacy is it's beyond of that. It's you being your authentic self, to be able to connect intimately with you and with others, and to get that flow. And whenever in a couple scene, let's say, right, whenever I have my clients, oh, we would like to work our intimacy, and I'm going to dive in deeper and see what it's been causing. Primary sometimes is sex matter, right? And
Right.
then the second one, it's finances. Okay, I would like to invest on this, but we have kids. And so to really get that session in the flow, we're going to be working about the belief systems as well, that they both been carrying of it, and which has been limited in themselves to get intimate, right? But
Right.
also it's been a very interesting journey lately to witness demands with my journey, right? My process, my clients, which is just like beautiful, because we took a place in the humanity because the woman was seeking for equanimity, to be equal with a man, right? And then we embody so much about the masculine energy, right? And now that we can do everything, we're independable and all of that, the man is kind of lost. They don't know who they are. Like,
Right.
I was the provider. I was doing all of this. And then I think it's so beautiful whenever they come at me and just say, help me out, because I need to connect with who I am, not only intellectually, but emotionally, because that is the moment that they are ready to connect with the feminine energy.
Right.
to balancing out those two polarities for them to serve their partner better, which is just to be there to listen to us. Hey, to validate, right? I'm saying validation, just to
Right.
be there and to listen. Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yeah, validating the emotions. I hear you saying that you're feeling sad, and because they are willing to be vulnerable with themselves, and to shift that weakness is different than vulnerability, totally different two things, right? So allowing themselves to cry, allowing themselves to feel sadness, to not feel that they are strong on that day, that they are just like going through on their own path. And
Right.
once they allowing themselves to do that, whenever we are in our period, let's say that, right?
Yeah.
They go, come over here, just lay down over here. Let me listen. How you feeling? Oh, it's so good to give you a hug. Or let's go for a walk in a trail. Let's
Yeah.
get the baby. Let's do something very nice, like creative.
Yeah.
Whenever I say do something nice, it's just use your imagination. You go to a picnic and ask each other, hey, how can I support you even more? But emotionally, not financially, because you do that, you know?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I feel so excited, and I am there for them because it's just shifting that it's starting to shifting that, right? Because we took a place so rapidly over here. Now they lose a little bit about the identity, right? Because also they never thought about how to allow themselves to feel their own emotions and to be vulnerable instead of like weak. You're not weak. Weak is a belief system, my
Right.
dear.
Yes. Yeah, because I mean, like, that's society. It's like men. I do love that, like, you watch things on, like social media about like men teaching other men. I mean, not saying that women can't, but a man stuck in that mentality of like, I have to be strong, I can't cry, I'm weak, all that stuff, are going to listen to another man's perspective probably more than maybe a woman's, in which is fine, it doesn't matter. But I've seen a growth in so many other like men content, that like men are getting up on podcasts, they're speaking about different stuff, they're educating. And like usually it's like, it's usually a female dominant, like, I guess, collective, I feel like. But men are actually starting to step up and like speak from the masculine perspective. I mean, we all have both inside, but it's like physically, somebody that's struggling with something masculine is probably going to listen to a guy talk about it, like a physical guy. I mean,
Uh-huh.
just, like, and I've noticed that through my own husband too. Like, he doesn't care about genders and all that stuff, but like if I want him to understand something that I'm trying to tell him, it's like I have to send a male perspective video for him to get it, like, oh, okay, I understand. Or like, just feeling safe in general. Like, I'm really good at doing that. But
Feeling
his, but also he has to feel safe in his body too before that happens. And it's just giving space and that like patience, like just holding space most of the time. And like ours, like in our basically what we've like gone through to grow through, is I have to remind myself that he just needs space. He's going to process it at his own time. He's going to ask questions at his own time. It's more of like my nurturing energy sometimes can be like overbearing, or my masculine side could be like, I'll just do it. Or, it's kind of hard now that I always thought like once I'm in a healthy relationship, it's going to be so easy. And it's not. It's actually harder than being in a toxic relationship, because I'm so used to doing everything. I'm so used to paying all the bills. I'm so used to being the provider. I'm so used to just doing all the things. And now it's like, I don't have to do that anymore. And it's safe to, I feel like there's still things I need to learn, which like it always is, but it's safe to not have to pay the mortgage. It's okay that I don't pay all the bills. I can just you focus on what I need to focus on and then pay what it's wild how my reality I was at like spectrums of reality this lifetime. That it's like I was the provider. I then
Uh-huh.
wasn't the provider. Like same thing with lack and abundance. Like I've had lack, I've seen it, I've had nothing to have all. And it was like when I had everything, I had all the money, my mental health was like garbage. And it's
Mhm.
like I might not have $100 million in the bank account or like getting that consistent paycheck, because entrepreneurship is not consistent. But
Well, yeah.
but it's like, but my mental health it's just different. Like money is just to me has always just been energy and it never really mattered to me. Now, some people it matters to them. I can pay, I'm safe regardless if I have $5 million in my bank account or negative 500.
Yeah.
There's always, if it's negative 500, it's because I need to learn a lesson. But you know what I mean. Yeah.
I understand you, Laura, and it's all about that, right? It's about we navigated with this abundance, the lack,
Yep.
because they are serving us all the time.
Right.
And but once we give to the divine, He's
Right.
providing. He's
Right.
providing all the time. And it's more a matter of like shifting the mindset for that, right? Because how many people has a lot of, let's say, like a lot of money, but they don't have the mental health. They commit
Right.
suicide, right?
Right.
So money, it's not everything, not at all. Do we need to live life comfortable? Yes, we do,
Right.
right? We choose to do, yes.
Right.
However, it's not depending on that. I like this thing, which comes from the Bible, right? And then I am a spiritual person, which I seek for knowledge in all of the channels, right? So, which say the root of the problem is the love of money. It's the attachment for that energy,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
if I am attached to that energy, I'm gonna lose everything because of the fear of losing that.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And so once I shift my mentality, and what is abundance? Abundance, it's have everything that I need when I need.
Right.
As
And
simple as it is.
yeah. And if you think about it in this moment, because the moments, that's the other thing too, like what human design has taught me, that I have to live in the moment. I feel like not just me, I feel like everybody has to live in the moment because if I'm thinking about the past, I'm going to feel depressed. If I'm thinking about the future, I'm going to get anxiety. So
Yeah.
what you only have moments. Literally, when I kind of like tore back all of the stuff in my life, I'm like, I've missed so many moments that I'll never get back because I was so worried about what's going to happen in an hour, what's going to happen, what happened last week or whatever. And I realized that was obviously probably a trauma response on like me not to focus on what's actually going on in my reality. But at the same time now, when I start to feel that, anxiety or, somebody tries to bring me out of the moment or something like that, I always like, don't worry about that. Don't worry. Like or I tell myself, depending on who I'm talking to, of like, regardless of what happens, I always trust the universe. And it's for everybody. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in the universe. The universe will always provide what you need, not what you want. It's
Yeah,
what you
exactly.
need. There's a difference,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But for us to accept that, we need to shift the mindset, right?
Right.
Because people think abundance is just like having $5 million in the bank account. It's same with intimacy. It's shifting the linguistic. And once we shift the linguistic and shift the mental patterns, we are able to experience the present moment abundantly.
Right.
And the other thing that people are just not aware, it is our most valuable asset. It's our time. So
Yes.
let's use them mindfully. Let's be in the present moment. within within ourselves and with others, just like we're doing now.
Right. Yes.
We are here for each other. I'm listening to your story, and then you listen to me, and then we are dialoguing about all of those patterns and traumas to for them who are listen to us. Okay, I connect that. I have this insight because that is our intention, is just to share this knowledge with people so then they can be empowered and they can take action for
Right.
themselves. And then
Right.
the consequence, the outcomes that they are seeking for it, because we're all seeking for outcome, right? So and also that's how I define success. What is success for me? That comes in form of love, because we're all seeking for that, right? But we just don't realize that it is a behavior and a feeling.
Yes.
So comes in form of love, respect, peace, and recognition.
Right.
And being seen, heard, and validated on this success love language, let's say that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm seeking for love. Who doesn't want it to be loved? We are human and emotional beings.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want it to be respect from what I've been providing for humanity, right? So
Right.
I'm serving humanity. I want to be respectful for that. Recognition, the same.
Yeah.
So if I created something wonderful, this glass, people gonna recognize myself. But because my intention of helping others and peace, who
Yeah.
doesn't want it to have peace in mind? Like, you stop all of those thoughts that go crazy sometimes. It's just like, now I'm just be present, connected with nature, connected with my air, connect with my body that is happy, that is just like seeking for their nutrition, all that the salad plate. And whenever I see my salad plate, my body's just like jumping. Yes, bitch, we're gonna be eating that delicious food.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I
And
love that.
it's that peace of mind. And people are so attached to the thoughts that
Yes.
they are not allowing the feelings. They've been suppressing the feeling in this peace. Oh, Lauren, I look for so long to have a peace in my mind that nowadays I do have and I do enjoy to the most.
Yeah.
It is just like an orgasm. It's a pleasure to have that peace embodied in my body. So that's why I wish for every of us to have whatever success means to you. Bring it into your field or just allow it. And that is the reason that I wrote it a book with that title, right? If you allow it, you can feel it.
Love that.
It-
I'll make sure, I was going to say, I'll make sure that is that book on, can people find that on Amazon?
yeah, they can find on Amazon on like electronic, or like they can have it printed on it.
Okay. I was gonna say I have your website and your Instagram. So I'll make sure that is in the description box. So make sure you go check out the book. I'm gonna go check out the book because I want to read that book.
Oh, thank you. And let me know what is the biggest taken away, and the same with
Yeah.
you, because you mentioned that, because we're exchanging this, right? And I would love to learn from you as I'm learning as right now,
Yeah.
because this is such a great interaction. This is an intimacy for me. I did not know you, and then here we are
Yeah.
exchanging this connection and to support other people that been through the same patterns and the same challenges in life. And let me tell you, just allow yourself to be who you are and accept who you are, and just enjoy the ride, because we are here to have fun, my people.
I was gonna say, I was gonna ask you to share one more message with, every, I should say woman, but it could be man too, man, woman, whoever you are, to navigating the trauma and spiritual awakening and intimacy. I was gonna ask, what would it be? Whatever you literally just told me was exactly probably what it was gonna be.
You were with that on mine, but as it's natural, right? The intuitive way of talking. Just enjoy life, have fun with it.
Yeah.
Don't suppress,
Yeah.
just allow the energy to come through, the emotions to come through, and play with that. If that is just like the movie, we have that movie in here. How they call about the emotions? I forget the
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Inside Out. Inside Out.
Inside Out.
I don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How beautiful is that? That for me was the best move ever, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So just enjoy with sadness. Okay, sadness, let's have fun. It's for us to cry today. Let's get a if you're into that, let's get an ice cream. Let's get like a chocolate, but let's be sad today.
Yep.
Okay. So then today I'm angry. Okay, let's be angry. Just scream, go in the car, do whatever. Just don't project that on others, okay? Please. Just
Yes.
let
Oh,
your
yeah. Yeah. Please don't scream and yell at people.
yeah, don't do that because others doesn't have to deal with whatever you're going through. Respect them.
Yeah.
For me, whenever I'm feeling mad or angry, right? I'm just driving and I scream. That's how I do. Or I get like the pill because I need to release that anger, right? Then I get the pill and I scream. Another day I was going to camping, right? That was phenomenal. Just because I drink coffee. So I don't drink that much coffee. And then the caffeine and sugar, right? Put myself in a position that I was hyper. And then it was
Yeah.
6 o'clock in the morning, driving that beautiful sky. And I was screaming to God, saying like, thank you so much for this beautiful day. You don't listen to me, but now I'm hoping you listen. I was screaming. It was my way. So it was just like sadness, anger, joy, all of the emotions. And I allow it. And probably was because of the caffeine and the sugar. But if that trigger what I needed in that time, I just allow it. And I'm glad that doesn't have houses beside. But I was just screaming. I was having so much fun with that because my inner child was there. And then I did it and I felt so good. I was like, good job. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, just play more with your inner child because the child's in there waiting to have fun.
Yeah. That's probably the best advice that we all can take on, even myself included, is to have more fun. Like, because life is short. Like, life is very short. And it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like we don't have fun. And I'm 36 years old and I'm like now just having fun. It's just like for 36 years I didn't have fun. So now the rest of my life I'm gonna have fun.
No, exactly. Because what matters is the now. Because the past is over.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, we are immortal and eternal beings. We're not gonna die. So
Right.
consciousness is going to experience like everything in life, right? So
Yeah.
this lifetime is going to be until whatever it is meant to be, like my physicality, my body, matter, flesh, whatever you want to call, it's going to die. But the fun and awareness and the lessons that I'm taking from here, I'm making this fun, you know? And
Because
so
I'm not coming. Here's me. I'm like, I'm not coming back to Earth and don't ask me to volunteer anymore. I'm not coming here. Sorry. This is my last incarnation on Earth and I'm making sure that's in my contract. And don't try to change it. Don't try to convince me to come back here. I'm not volunteering. Thank you. I feel like there's so many people when you say that, they're like, me either, girl. I'm not doing it. I'm like, I'm not. There's
but
other souls that are newer that they need to come here.
but you know, I got in that dynamic as well before. But and then I had my higher self talk with me, right?
Yeah.
What if you're gonna come back again?
I guess. Yeah, I'm sure my higher self in that conversation are probably right now is like, but you probably will.
Whenever
Never.
whenever I listen to that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna meditate it on that, and I'm not gonna be attached. If I have to come, that was me,
Yeah.
right? Talking with myself.
I was just joking. Like when I said it, I was joking because like I don't feel like too, some people just need to laugh. And I feel like sometimes I have dark humor about like different things. And when I was like, well, this is my last incarnation on earth. So I need to like, this life is going to be hard. So, and
Uh-huh.
then usually my, higher self is like, but it's not. And then I'm like still talking and it's like, but you probably will. I'm like, can you shut up, please? Thank you. Okay, move on. Yeah.
But
Well,
the deeper,
thank you for joining us on today's episode with Amanda on the Enlightened Misfits podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with somebody that you feel that will gain knowledge from listening. Make sure you check out all her links if you're watching this over on YouTube or you're listening to this on any of your podcast platforms. Make sure you check out all of her links below in the description box. Stay tuned for more captivating conversations in the future. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you next time.